If you want to know how to make your drawings go from this to this in just a couple of days, then make sure to keep watching this video where I draw for Inktober for every single day to improve my art. If you don't know what Inktober is a challenge for all artists around the world, beginner or experienced, where we post either a picture or a video of an ink drawing for every day of Inktober. Now, you can either do it randomly or you can follow the same list I've been following for years. I also have a playlist on my channel where I did Inktober for 2021, 2022 and 2023. So if you're still trying to improve your art like I did, you can also follow lots of tutorials on my channel. In this video, I'm going to teach you guys how to draw any dinosaur in any pose. If you feel like you really want to draw a dinosaur and you really want to get better but you lack the skill set or the knowledge to do so, then make sure you watch all the way through the end. Because I'm doing the challenge for day 18 of Inktober, I'm gonna have to draw the Guanlong. Chapter 1. Research and study. So before you want to start drawing your dinosaur, you need to make sure that you have enough knowledge about this dinosaur. So the way that I do this is I go into Google Images and I look up the name of the dinosaur. Then I look up the name of the dinosaur and skeleton behind it. And then I look up the name of the dinosaur and skull. After you've gathered enough reference, I always like to practice the following things, especially when I'm drawing a new dinosaur that I've never drawn before. The head, the body, the legs, the feet, the arms and the hands. What I like to do is I like to put a couple of thumbnail sketches with the parts in 3 different poses or 3 different perspectives. The first one would be the side perspective, the second one would be a 3/4 view, and then the third one would be a frontal view. I do this with the head, the body, the legs, the feet, the arms and the hands. It's very important to practice all of these things, because if you mastered all of these things, then that will definitely help you in drawing your dinosaur. So now it's time to actually start drawing. So for the head, as you can see, I always start with the basic circle. Then I put the eye in it and I build up the rest of the snout around it. Same thing from the 3/4 view. Just imagine drawing a bird. You always start with the circle for the head, then put the eyes in place, and then draw the beak around it. For the frontal view, it's a little bit more difficult, so I use squares and I use a lot of shapes to visualize where everything goes. So for the torso, it's a little bit harder to follow. It's best to just start with an oval shape. What I did here is not exactly how you want to start it. So here we're going to go with the 3/4 view. As you can see right here, I'm drawing a triangle and then I'm drawing some kind of shape at the back for the hips and for the shoulder blades. I'm doing the same triangle at the front view and I just build up everything around it. Now for the leg, it's a little easier. You can just start off with building the lines for the bones and then draw on some muscles around it. 3/4 view, make sure that the leg is always going to get thinner, because from the side view the leg is always thick, but from the front view the leg is going to look a lot thinner because that part of the leg doesn't have that many muscles. So for the arms, it's not that much different from the legs. You just build it up with sticks as the bones and then you build some muscle and flesh around it. Same thing from the 3/4 view, except the claws are overlapping more. And here we go with the triangle again, and then we're drawing some muscles for the chest and then draw the arms around it. Chapter 2. Sketching. For the sake of this video, I will break it down into 3 phases. Step 1. A loose sketch. So for step 1, you want to loosely sketch out the dinosaur in basic shapes, being squares, circles, ovals, triangles, and shapes like those. Make sure you don't press down too hard on your pencil because you're going to be erasing these shapes later so that you can go over it. Step 2. Erase. For step 2, you want to erase everything until the point to where you can barely see it, so you can go over it with either a marker-proof fine liner or just your pencil again. Keep in mind that if you're going to be using your pencil, you can now press down a little harder to make the lines darker and more visible. This will make your art look more clean. Step 3. Detailing. It is finally time to let our imagination run free. There's absolutely no limit to how detailed a drawing should or could be. You set your own standards. Do keep in mind though that if you plan to color your art with markers later, that in the areas of darker pigment you will lose a lot of that detail. We have arrived at the final chapter. Chapter 3. Coloring. Step 1. Picking out colors. I like to use a color swatch with the names of the colors next to the actual color. The reason for this is that the color of the cap is almost never the same as the ink in the marker. When you're picking a color, it's very important to use 3 gradients of every color that you use: a light tone, a mid-tone, and a dark tone. Step 2. Finding and putting down the shadows. So it's very important to know where the light source is going to be and know which side is going to be the shadow side. For example, if the light source is going to be on the left, then the shadows are going to be on the right side of the dinosaur. I always like to start off with some gray tones first. Use 3 different shades of gray, from light to dark, and build up your shades in gray tones first. This will help you a lot later in the coloring process, since it already shows you where the shadows are even after going over it with colors. If you've been watching until now and have been enjoying this video, then please consider subscribing, since a lot of you guys aren't subscribed yet, even though you do watch a lot of my videos. So please don't forget, and maybe if you really like this video, leave a like, since it really helps me to grow my channel faster and it will push out this video to more people. Step 3. Coloring your drawing. It is finally time to put some color into our lives. Go over the gray tones with, again, the lightest out of the 3 colors that you've picked out, and just repeat the same process as what you did with the grays. So basically, you want to start off with the lightest color first, then you want to go over the darkest parts with the darkest color, and then create a good transition between the light and the dark with the mid-tone. We have arrived at the final step. Step 4. Colored pencils. As the final stage, I like to go over my drawing with colored pencils with some blacks and whites. So that way I can make the shadows darker and make the highlights look lighter. Colored pencils can also make for a more smooth transition between the dark and the lights. And there you go. Now you know how to draw a dinosaur.